That's my Uncle Ray, and that's his wink. If you know Ray Ratto, then you know this wink. And you know when you see it, you're going to hear a story, like how the Ratto family came to farming in Northern California. My great-grandfather, Giovanni Ratto, came to California from Italy when he was 18 years old in 1878. Other family members followed, and eventually he and his brother, Nicolo, started farming in Alameda as G&N Ratto. He married Catherine Parada in 1888, and together they had 5 children. One of them, my grandfather, Anton Lawrence Ratto, quit school at age 16 and began farming on Bay Farm Island in 1905. This marked the beginning of the company that is today known as Ratto Brothers.
On the morning of the 1906 earthquake, Pop was coming with a wagon and the horse and the wagon full of vegetables, crossing the Bay Farm Island Bridge to come into Alameda. From Alameda, they'd go into Oakland. And anyway, as he was crossing the bridge, he says a gust of wind came out of the east and almost took his breath away. He made it to the market in Oakland, which then was on the 10th and Broadway, and the earthquake hit as he was unhooking the horse to put him in the stall. And the earthquake hit, and he said that horse stood up on his hind legs, almost hit the trolley wires. And finally, he said, it settled down. He said Broadway was just like a wave, and got the horse in his stall. And people would come by, but they would not buy a package off the wagon. They told me to think it was the end of the world.
Anton drove the horse and wagon full of vegetables from Bay Farm Island to the produce market in Oakland. He developed a customer base and supplied them with a full line of vegetables, either from his own farm or from the farms of others with whom he traded. This old horse and wagon has become the trademark of Ratto Brothers and serves as our company logo to this very day. In 1919, Anton married Johanna Berzoni. Together, this busy couple produced 13 children, 10 of whom survived into adulthood. 6 boys and 4 girls: Jack, Sis, Bud, Frank, Catherine, Ray, Eddie, Joni, Lenny, and Ann.
I probably went to work on the farm when I told him to carry a box. And I can remember my brother Anton picking zucchini, and I'd carry the box for him. And then when it got too heavy, we'd set it down and he'd take the rest of it.
In 1918, Anton purchased 68 acres of farmland on what is today 98th Avenue in Oakland, very close to the airport. By 1933, he left his operations on Bay Farm Island and farmed exclusively on the Oakland property.
The Oakland airport, as it crows flies, is probably a quarter of a mile from the farm. And they used to have air races back in the 30s and 40s, early 40s. And we had 2 big high water tanks that stood up about 20 feet. So we had numerous races during the year that they would circle the water tanks. On the day that Amelia Earhart left Oakland, I was there watching her take off, and was blessed to see the lady that did the trip after her, which was a few years back, and watched her come into Oakland. So I was quite privileged to see some of these things that have happened.
During World War II, Ray, being one of the youngest boys, worked on the farm while his older brothers went off to fight. In high school, Ray loved to play sports and sang in the Glee Club.
In high school, I was 3 brothers were off to war, and I was left to help my dad on the farm. And so I went to school half a day, and the other half a day I was up working on the farm until my senior year, when Brother Lenny grew up a little bit and he took my place, and I was able to play baseball and football, which I enjoyed thoroughly, and didn't want to leave school. I never wanted to stay in school, but at that point I didn't want to leave school.
When the war ended and the older boys returned home, it was Ray's turn to serve during the Korean War.
I went to leadership school and I trained troops, and I was one of the lucky guys that got ordered to go overseas. I ended up in the hospital for about 6 months, and most of the boys that I had trained with didn't come back.
In the late 40s and 50s, as Anton grew older, the 5 brothers returned to the farm to form what is today known as Ratto Brothers. The 5 brothers possessed unique talents, John was a business person, Antone Jr. or Bud was the main man in the field, Frank was a detail person, Lenny was the equipment man and farmer, and Ray was a salesman. Ray loved farming, but he was born to be a salesman, and when it came to selling what he loved, there was no stopping him.
Well, I had a good teacher. My dad sold all his life. And the trick, he says, it's nice to have the perfect vegetable to sell. But he says, if you can't sell something that isn't up to perfect, you're not a salesman.
On February 2nd, 1952, Ray married Irene Bugle.
We worked really 7 days in the week, and when it came to a holiday, we were able to get off one day. And I went up to close to Clear Lake to Middletown in a little resort company, and there was about 5 of us farmers, and we all went to the dance, and we were looking around to who's going to dance with us. So I spotted this cute little girl over in the corner, and I said, that's my little girl over there. Ratto, you can never, ever dance with her. I said, put $5 on the table, and I'll show you. So I went off, and sure enough, she danced with me. I swung around the table, picked up I think there was $25. I put it in my pocket and said, see, guys? And that was it. She was the girl I married. So I was very, very lucky.
They were married for 49 years until Irene's passing in 2000 and had 7 children, 4 sons, Ray Jr., Paul, David, and Tommy, and 3 daughters, Susie, Margaret, and Joanne.
I've been blessed with 7 wonderful children.
Ray worked long hours, arriving at the farm long before daylight and taking the produce to the markets in Oakland and San Francisco. But he still had time for some memorable family trips, water skiing at Clear Lake and gambling up in Lake Tahoe.
We stayed at different places, and at night, especially when we went up to Lake Tahoe, we did a lot of water skiing at Lake Tahoe. And I'd go to the casinos, and when before I went to the casino or got home, they were all waiting for me to play blackjack. And I'd always get beat. I don't know why. The casinos, I got beat. When I got home, I got beat worse.
Ratto Brothers expanded their operation by purchasing 160 acres in Modesto in 1962. They started growing grapes, walnuts, and almonds in addition to the traditional row crops. However, by the mid-'80s, they returned to their origins and concentrated solely on row crops.
Our first year of business, the brothers went together. I think we grossed $58,000, which is quite spectacular, we thought. And today, I just don't want to give you what the sum is, but really, the company has done a fine job.
Today, the operation has grown to more than 1,000 acres. The company has its own state-of-the-art packing facility and serves customers throughout the world. A new generation of Rattos is continuing the family tradition, including 2 of Ray's sons, Ray Jr. and David, as well as 2 of Ray's nephews, Ronald Ratto and Frank Ratto.
I've taken up a hobby of fishing, and I've been able to go to Alaska for the last 10 years. And then after the Alaska season's done, we come back and we fish the ocean for salmon, halibut, mostly salmon. And I have a picture here, and if they can show it, this was the year before last. We went out, and there were 6 of us in the boat, and we all caught, the average size of the salmon was 25 to 40 pounds.
Ray has been blessed to be able to spend the past 3 years with Eleanor Kamisha, a friend he has known since high school. Together, they are traveling and enjoying time with family and friends.
My little lady friend who I'm taking out now, her and her husband and I were best friends. But he was tall and better looking and basically had more money than I had. And her dad sort of took a liking to him. So I was fortunate enough to know her and to go out with her. And I think I got my first kiss after 50 years. So it wasn't too bad. So and now we're doing things together, and she's a fine companion.
Today, Ray's legacy is ingrained in the Ratto brothers' culture. We believe in old-fashioned personal relationships and the power of a handshake. And while our operation and fresh products are second to none, you will still feel the spirit of Antone Ratto and his horse-drawn cart in every Ratto brothers delivery.